Well, because I'll tell you what. So I was working at Homewood Suites in Lakewood. The year was 2010. I finished my degree, not my license, but I finished in school, and I'm about ready to take state boards. You know, you got to take state boards. So I go to 24 Hour Fitness, and my window does not roll all the way down on the driver's side. So I take my stuff out and I put it in the trunk. I work out for an hour and a half. I come out. Where's my car at?
Wow.
I'm desperately looking around the parking lot.
Stole your car.
You said your window don't roll all the way down. You mean all the way up?
Oh yeah, all the way up.
So
I can't find my car. I'm looking around. I asked him to
make it
take.
easier for him to get in there so easy.
So somebody stole my car, and then the cop.
We're not laughing about the car stolen.
Well, it was only a Honda. It was a Honda Accord, 1997. It was.
More obvious.
It was beat up. I don't. So the cop picks me up. He said, "You know what? I'll give you a ride home." He starts telling me about high-speed chases, and it's like, "Oh, they won't let us do these high-speed chases anymore. It sucks. There's so much fun."
You're doing high-speed chasing now?
Well, he said he was just telling me that he liked to do high-speed chases. Anyway, I was working at Homewood Suites, and it was depressing, but bad luck. So about 2 weeks later, I get something in the mail. We have your car in this impound lot. Come pick it up. I go and I go to the impound lot, pick it up. The ignition is pulled out of it. I have to put like a little wrench thing in there to turn the ignition to get it to fire up. And they had stolen my little suitcase full of all my implements out of the trunk.
Oh my God, everything's stolen.
Yeah, so I never pursued it.
Insurance doesn't pay for that?
I don't know. I didn't even try.
Well, I have my
I had liability. I had liability.
Somebody stole something here. They pay me whole thing.
Yeah, that's common.
So,
Fire, wind, theft, hell.
So about a week ago, I'm talking to my manager at Hampton Inn and Suites, Hampton Inn, the new one, and there's a guy working there named Taylor, a young guy, and I'm like, Taylor, he just seems so sincere, such a nice guy, and my manager's like, well, you never know, and I said, I can tell, I know he's a nice guy, and she said, well, you never know. We used to have a guy that worked for us named Maurice, and Maurice, and I was like, where have I heard that name before, Maurice? And I said, was his last name Singleton? And she gives me this look like, and she's like, what, did you read this? And I said, what are you talking about? I know Maurice. I used to work with him at Homewood Suites. And she said, well, he was on the run for 15 years. He was working with us at the Residence Inn in Westminster. His real name was David Skelly. Look it up. He was an alleged child rapist out of Ohio, and he was living under the assumed name Maurice Singleton in Colorado. And this is a guy that I worked with that just seemed like a great guy, and one of the easiest people I've ever worked with. I knew him as Maurice. They knew him as Maurice. And he had been featured on America's Most Wanted several times as a child rapist. He had allegedly raped this girl, and I guess the evidence was pretty strong because he ran. And he would always tell me when we were working together, we worked in the kitchen. I did front desk part of the time, and I did kitchen part of the time. And he would always say, oh, yeah, these kids are driving me crazy. I've got 5 girls. So he had moved in with another woman. I don't know if he had married her or whatever, but she had... And my manager said, oh, only one of those girls was his. The other 4 were not his. And the thought was that he was abusing those other girls. And so they helicopters the whole deal at the Residence Inn. They arrested him. He ended up killing himself in jail after he was in there for a month. And I'm this is just one of the most shocking things I've ever seen. So I'm looking online for all this stuff. Maurice also committed robbery. So I'm thinking, I worked with him at that time. I'm thinking maybe he had one of his guys hey, he has his stuff in the car. He doesn't keep it locked. Just go rob him. I don't know. That's my theory.
My God, that's terrible.
How
Yeah.
many years did you work with him?
I worked with him.
He was going
About
by
a year.
Michael Singleton, and then
He was going by the name Maurice Singleton, and his real name was David Skelly. David Lee Skelly.
David Lee Skelly, and, he went
And it
by
was on
Michael
the local news here. It was on in the Denver
It
Post.
wasn't in there.
It was in
Oh, I
all
didn't see it.
all the papers
It
and
was on the news. I haven't been watching the news. Did you see it? Matt, did you
well,
see
there's so many, there's a new crime every day, but he was featured on the program America's Most Wanted several times. He
Got
wasn't on the
away
top
with it
10 list,
15
but
years. You said 15 years, and how many years? Did
he
you
was
work
on he was on the run for 15 years, and I worked with him for a year. But he
1 year.
and I was just like, he was such a nice guy. It's like I can't believe, like, he was always joking around. It's like he kind of looked like a criminal. I remember, like, in the beginning when he was first hired there, my manager was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this background check on Maurice," and we didn't find. And I ended up doing the same background check on him. I was just like, seeing, but nothing came up under Maurice Singleton. And then he's just such a nice guy.
I mean, you never know sometimes.
Yeah, you
Social
never.
Security number did he use?
Oh, the Social Security
Yeah.
number, they come out, I think. I don't think so for first.
I think
thing,
he had stolen somebody's identity. I think from Ohio.
So Mike Singleton's
Maurice Singleton.
Maurice.
And,
His ID identification.
Wow. Huh. How long you working
But
for your job?
Well, I was working with him it was at least 6 months, and we worked closely together in the kitchen a lot of the time. And but the weird thing is, like, he was wanted in Ohio for raping this. She was under 12 years old, but also robbery. It never would have struck me that he would steal anything. He just didn't seem like that kind of guy.
So no money came.
So
out
it's very
of this
possible he's the one that robbed me. I'm thinking that now.
Oh, you're thinking he robbed you, but you left your window
Maybe he had
down?
like a gang affiliation, because right when I went into that 24-hour fitness, a guy was coming out, and I remembered back to that, like, that's probably the guy that stole my car. It was like, and just after hearing the story, I was like, that guy. It seemed like he was waiting for me. I'm going in, and then the guy comes out, and I'm wondering if Maurice made a call. I don't know. That's what I think now.
Wow.
That's possible, but maybe
You're
not.
not working now, or what?
I'm working in a hotel.
Hotel.
Instead
Why
of
you
doing
don't do your
here.
job, my friend? You have the
Well,
you have degree, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, males don't pay a lot. My wife is not going to let me do female haircuts.
Why?
You could do 3 an hour if you'd been doing a half-hour haircut. But you could do, well, you could get more than what we're paying you. I mean, we do favors for you. I mean, a regular client, what would you charge? At least 15.
You're doing a favor for me?
Yeah. We're doing, like, you're late sometimes, and Jesse said he had to give you his phone. Well, Jesse has
This is a
loan.
good reference. He's a really good reference.
He doesn't have a phone. His wife. So Jesse, he uses Jesse's phone, because I say use Jesse. He's got unlimited minutes on, and then he'll come over like, I missed the bus. He'll be talking to us in the bus we come by. He sits there, oh God, I'm gonna be like. Then he goes, I don't care if they fire me. The other day, I don't care. What are they gonna
Well,
do?
if you want to work, my son he owns the salon, completely.
Go work for him.
Okay.
He teach you
Okay.
everything, best thing. He's number one.
Even if
You know how
get
much experience he
50%
has?
of the-
How much?
25 years.
Wow. Okay.
That job, 25 years.
So if he gets a
Yeah, they
100
work- you know who's
haircut,
working
and
for
you,
him?
You got 50. If
They're
you were
working
that
over there,
good.
people, all of them professional.
How many chairs does he have?
Ah,
How many chairs?
you have almost, I think, 7 chairs.
Does he need anybody in a chair
No,
right now?
they first, I think he's first, they check you first. They look how you are, what you're doing, and
He
that,
looks
that,
good,
that,
don't he?
that. They teach you. First you work for him, assistants, They teach you, and then that's it. And then after that,
He's got
if
a real
they
good
see you,
personality.
they teach you a lot of, you know what?
But Elvis is back.
The barber,
Draw. Elvis is here.
hairstylist is
Oh
very
my God,
different.
you could be the big
Yeah.
draw.
So many
He looks like
hairstylists.
I
Elvis,
know,
don't he?
I know.
He looks like
You know.
Elvis Presley. Look at his face.
Yeah.
But
Elvis
I wanna-
Presley. Elvis is here.
So many hairstyles. You know what? don't think all of them is same thing. Good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Hard to find a good one.
It's true. It's hard to find a good
Yeah,
one,
that's
actually.
excellent. You know,
Should we go down there now?
You know how much
visit?
money
Oh,
make
you got to
my-
go to
my
work.
son?
This is you're off. Oh, you can't go on Tuesdays.
My son,
and
how much
Wednesdays,
make
but-
money for a month?
Probably-
30,000.
I was going to say 29,000. I was going to say 29,999. I'd have been $1 short.
But I want to be able to do something where I don't have to go to work. Like I hate it. I can't go. I can't.
Make that kind of money.
Well, what I'm saying is I want to be able to work for myself. That's something I could do
Yeah,
here
but
at home.
You could work
Yeah,
into
but you know
it.
what?
If
I
he's
have-
charging
first, you
something a
need to-
haircut, 3
Exactly.
highlighting.
Need to what you're doing.
Even if you got half of it or a third of the 300, I mean that. Well, I don't know what he paid. He teaches. You could eventually get your own place. Usually, when somebody cuts their hair and they leave though, does he? Some places have a clause that says you can't take the clients with you. Does he have those kind of?
No.
No.
You know
So you
why?
can keep your
You know
clients.
why? I tell you something. My son, they work so many people together. Hairstylists, so many. Pew is number one people. They come from Europe. They learn the job there. You know, they're people. They know how the haircut. this
Europeans.
style, and Europeans.
Those people are
That
sophisticated.
is excellent.
Yeah, the best.
The best. You're right. And then they learn everything. How many years you know that? 10 years after he opened the shop, his own place. You know who's working for him? They're
Who?
working Polo Garcia. You heard it? That guy?
The
Polo
actor?
Garcia?
Polo Garcia.
No,
You know who's that?
no.
He's come from Hollywood. He's a star's haircut he's doing.
Oh, he's from Hollywood, a hairstyle. Polo Garcia.
Yeah.
He's, I've seen someone.
I love
know how
Hollywood.
much
That's where I belong.
You know how much he doing haircut? He's that guy?
$1 million.
$200 one haircut.
Jeez.
for a guy.
You believe that?
For a guy.
One cut, yeah, haircut. The book like that. Nah.
I don't know. I went to.
He's working my son.
I was paying $20 for a haircut, and I'll tell you what, Renee, she did a very good job. A very good job.
Who's
I'm just
Renee?
kidding.
Who's Renee?
Listen.
Oh, you made that up.
Millionaire people doesn't go to $20, $25, $30.
I know.
They
I'm
want
kidding.
a specialist who's the best. Who's the
Nice,
number one.
nice atmosphere. Yeah.
Not only for hairstyles, for eat something restaurant, right? They want to go most expensive restaurant.
That's everything.
Doesn't
Yeah.
want to go, that Mexican restaurant.
Please hit a thumbs up even though you hate the video. Please share the video even though it sucks. Please subscribe and donate to the channel on the PayPal button. Even $1 helps.